What's up, everybody? Welcome to Log On Games Weekly for February 21st. My name is Andrew Fleming. I am your host for this podcast, but I also have with me Shibby 120. How are you doing?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going. How's life?
Life is great. Life is good. Nintendo Direct Day for Animal Crossing. I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling it as well. Also, Marty coming back with us from last week. Had his first episode last week, if you heard that. If not, it is up for download. But how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastical. I am packing up. I got my first wrestling match back in 2020 in Las Vegas this weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to all be on my Twitch. And it's going to be a good test to see where my body's sitting at right now. These herniated discs have been a pain in my butt. Literally.
Oh my God.
So you're Twitch streaming the whole shabazz. That's what you're saying.
I'll be streaming my whole show. That's right, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Cool. And what is your Twitch stream?
My Twitch stream is Marty the Moth Casaus. Go to martincasaus.com. You can find everything, or all my socials on Martin Casaus. I'm easy to find.
Awesome.
That Google.
Sounds fantastic. So this episode of Log On Weekly is, like Shibby said, we had an Animal Crossing Nintendo Direct this morning from when we're recording this on Thursday. So it is very fresh in our minds. Marty tweeted out, as well as our podcast socials, if we had anything that you guys wanted us to talk about. So we have some fan questions. We have quite a bit of Twitter questions at the end of this podcast.
Bring it on.
And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus, because that's what you do in 2020.
Bring it on.
This is Log On Games Weekly, the podcast that has all the news and hot topics from the gaming world that you need to know about. New episodes upload every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you can rate us 5 stars. Anywhere else, you can share the link with your friends. Be greatly appreciated. If you have something you want to say or you want to be a part of the fan questions at the end of every episode, you can follow us at Log On Games or on Facebook, where this is also available for you to listen. And if you haven't heard the last couple podcasts, we're partnering with ouchthathurts.com. So you can go to that website, listen to this podcast. They also have numerous other video game podcasts and such. So make sure to go give them some support. Now, let's get into some of the weekly news that we had from this past week. And we're going to have a lot of fan questions at the end of this podcast. But one kind of intertwined a little bit with some weekly news. At Tom Gardner 73 on Twitter asked us who's looking forward to Final Fantasy VII coming out March 3rd. So I don't know if you guys are looking forward to it or not, but it did come out this week that if you're going to buy it digitally, which a lot of people are, you're looking at about 100 gigabyte download, which is quite
wow.
That is a hefty download.
I like it.
If I'm not mistaken, and I don't know if you guys know this, and is this a 2-disc game if you buy it physically? I want to say I saw something where it is, but I'm not sure about that. But what I am sure about is 100 gigs is a lot of gigs.
That's a buttload.
I like that. Games are getting bigger, and it's more bang for your buck now. Give me 200 gigs, Gig it up.
Give me all the gigs. Give me gig it up.
Gig it up, I agree. Horizon Zero Dawn is something I'm playing right now, and I had to re-download it last night, and it was like 50 gigs or something like that. It was a lot of gigs, but that board is
just
so huge.
Free external hard drive.
Yes, right? That's what we need. We just need to all have like free external hard drives with our games now.
So my brother, with a lot of other people, have either their original PlayStation or maybe you got a Slim or whatever. That's only like 500 gigs. So that's a fifth of your hard drive gone if you're gonna get Final Fantasy VII. That's quite a number. But I'm excited for it. And yeah, a lot of people, especially I don't know so much about with Xbox. If we had someone that, if you guys know, you can say something. But I know on PlayStation you can it's pretty easy to either use an external hard drive or replace your hard drive. So I have some friends that have done that this won't be an issue for, but still, that's hefty download. Could be the way we're going. Another thing that happened just a couple days ago, a new Nintendo Switch Lite color was announced just in time for Animal Crossing, as it is being released on March 20th. Shibby, I know you've worked with Switch Lite.
Kirby edition.
It is coral. It is coral, which happens to be my wife's favorite color, which is disappointing considering.
Coral.
Exactly, which is disappointing considering she got a Switch Lite like a month ago. So she's a little upset, but not terribly upset.
You know, that's what everyone is saying. I think it's good to have all these options is awesome, but you see the Animal Crossing Switch come out and people are like, I just bought a Switch and now, and then Nintendo's like, don't worry. Here's another Switch. And then people are like, but I just sold my one so I can buy but I will say the regular Switch is, it's a better built machine than the Switch Lite. So don't be if you have a regular Switch, don't feel like you're missing out too much. If you prefer Switch Lite, then yeah, you're missing out.
You're missing
Sucks.
out. Yeah, that's one thing I think Nintendo does. Whereas like Xbox or PlayStation, they'll come out with their Pro version or their like Xbox One X version or something. That all Nintendo has to do is come out with another color, and all the Nintendo people freak out, want to buy it.
Geniuses.
Genius. It's
that was
white
like,
now.
I feel like that was Dr. Robotnik or something that just popped up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. Hey, but I'm going to call this one the Kirby edition. Can you somebody please, if it doesn't exist already, just Photoshop some feet on this new Switch Lite, and there you go. You've got a Kirby Switch.
Adorable.
Well, it is coming out day and date with Animal Crossing, which is really funny because the Animal Crossing themed Switch comes out a week before Animal Crossing. But now this new Switch Lite comes out on the day Animal Crossing comes out.
Oh, but also note, that is for Japan. So in the U.S., we'll be getting it on April 3rd. And then
on April 3rd, that's almost my
in
birthday.
Europe, there is no, as far as I know, there's no release yet.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's I'm going to start World War III right now.
America.
So, yeah.
All right, guys, moving on here. If you are a Fortniter, Fortnite Chapter 2, Season 2, I know it was delayed for a little bit, but it went live today. It is live. If you want to Google it, you can see all of the patch notes, all the new battle passes. Apparently, there's a Deadpool skin now. I don't know how true that is, but I saw it on IGN. So if you're a Fortnite player, it is now live. So go enjoy all the things that Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2 will do for you. And yeah, so we'll move on to a kind of meteor, and I have some questions about this for you fellers. A little meteor topic here. So less than a week ago, Sony said that they will be at PAX East, which is in Boston this weekend, right? Yeah, February 27th through March 1st, so next weekend. But this week, Sony said, we're going to be at PAX. The Last of Us 2 is going to be there playable. So this would be the first time anybody has been able to play it unless they were invited to like the Last of Us event that was held a couple months ago. But for the public, this is the first time you would get a chance to play it. And then yesterday, Sony comes out and says, we're canceling our PAX East showcase over coronavirus concerns. Not only does that cut the Last of Us 2 demos, they had a whole bunch of games that they were going to show off. But they are completely cutting out of PAX East. There's a bunch of questions that I could ask about this. One being, do you guys think, I'll start with you, Shibby. Do you think this is an excuse, like this just happens to be a good excuse around now to bow out of something, since they just bow out? It's on the cusp of them saying they're not coming to E3. But do you think this is them bowing out, or do you think this is like a real concern for them.
I remember hearing about this, and I never had time to look into it much. So I'm not the best person to ask about it, but my first instincts are to say, the very first instinct is, oh man, they're trying to dip out of something else again. They can't use the same excuse, so now but then the other side of me is like, nah, dude, no one's going to use the coronavirus where all these people are dying and getting infected. They're not going to just throw that out there as an excuse. I feel like that would be a really low blow. But they are a giant corporation, so who knows? I kind of don't think they would make that up. But yeah, I don't know. They could.
So Sony, Mr. Sony, I don't know who said this. Mr. Sony basically came out and said, "We felt this was the safest option as the situation is changing daily. We are disappointed to cancel our participation at this event, but the health and safety of our global workforce is our highest concern." So this makes me the thing that makes sense. PAX East is any PAX, not just PAX East. It's a pretty giant convention. People come from all over the world to come to these things, and not only fans come from all over the world to come to these things, but I'm sure Sony has people over in Asian countries that they fly in to do either work or media outlets or whatever. So maybe that contributes to all this as well.
So if you're a PAX East goer, how does this make you feel about going to the convention now?
Well, that's the thing. No one else has opted out as of yet.
True.
So that's the weird part to me personally. Like, I'm on board with you, Shibby. It's like they wouldn't have said 4 or 5. It's weird that they said 4 or 5 days ago that they are going to go, and then 4 or 5 days later they're like, never mind, we're not going to go. And I have no idea either way if it's true or not. But if you're a PAX East goer, then and you wanted to play these games, and that's disappointing. But at the same time, like, no one else has dropped out. So will we see a snowball effect maybe in the next week where other people are like, yeah, that's right, we should just opt out? Or if no one else drops out, I think it makes Sony look a little bit worse because, like, dude, no one else dropped out.
Yeah. That's kind of scummy. Like, oh, sorry, coronavirus. That's like, and back in church, like the answer is always just Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just a little cop out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm interested to see this next week if anybody else comes out and says that they're not going to be there. PAX will still go on. That I do know.
And I actually spoke with 2 streamers this week that usually go to PAX East, and I did hear about they have major concerns about coronavirus. Just from their own personal standpoint, it's like, I don't know if I actually really want to go. I'm kind of worried with all these people in there flying in from all sorts of places. Yeah. So there's validity behind that as well.
And y'all know
I think
this.
It's better to be safe.
Yeah, y'all know this. PAX in general, any event in general, especially a gaming convention with just so many people in one section, most people, or I would not say most, but a lot of people either get sick at the event, if it's like a couple of days or a week long, or they get sick on their way back home, whether it's going in and out of airports or people being gross in PAX East and, not washing their hands or whatever. So now this is another thing on top of that, because people will fly from all over the world to come to this thing. So if I lived close or I was going to PAX, that would be a concern of mine as well. So I completely understand where they're coming from. But time will tell. This next week, it'll be interesting to see if anybody else opts out, because I think that will make things a little bit different if Sony's the only one that bows out of this. But that's about all the news that happened this week. There was other things, but we have a bunch of fan questions to get to. And then the biggest news dropped a couple days ago when Nintendo tweeted out that there will be an Animal Crossing Direct this morning. And I had to double check like 4 different times to make sure it was real, because earlier this week, fake Nintendo account tweeted out that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct, and I thought it was real, along with a bunch of other people. I saw people from like IGN, GameSpot, like YouTubers, big time YouTubers that were tweeting out about this Nintendo Direct from this fake Nintendo account, and then like 5 minutes later, you see it's been deleted.
Ooh.
So when this one came out, I was like, I have to double check everything. But it was very real, and it came out today at a whopping 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific time, which Nintendo likes to do now for some reason. But so the good news is no delay. That was my first fear. Was like they're gonna come out with this Direct and immediately say it's been delayed. But there's this article on IGN. It's called "Everything We Learned in the Animal Crossing New Horizons Direct." So if you want to get all of the information kind of in one pile, this is a very good article to go to. And we're gonna kind of go down the line here. Shibby has seen some of this, so I'm going to pretty much give you a little part of it and then kind of get your reaction to some of this stuff. So pretty close to the beginning, I think you probably saw some of this. The seasons are normal. Spring, summer, winter, fall, like it usually is. However, you can pick southern or northern hemisphere this time around, which is different, but it's not a huge deal to us, but it may be for someone else. Like those of you that live in Australia. And like, I didn't think about this until I watched a Reacts today. On past Animal Crossings, it was just like, you couldn't pick northern or southern hemisphere. So I assume it's just the same seasons for everybody, no matter when, like where you lived. But that's one thing you can do now. And so now it's going to be, if your friends, you pick southern hemisphere and I'll pick northern hemisphere. That way we can go to each other's islands and get the different events and items and stuff that are going on.
Nice.
Kind of finagle it. Kind of do the old finagle that way. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but people will do anything that you can to get an advantage, even though this is a single player game. But more on that later, because I saw a tweet right before we hit record on this thing that clears up something later on. But island services. So the resident service tent is available 24/7 for crafting tips and shop. Shibby, you've played past Animal Crossings, correct? Or at least some of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember there being any store that's open 24/7. I thought everything closed at like 8:00.
Oh, true. Yeah. And that was a complaint because the thing with Animal Crossing, what's so cool about it is that it goes off of your exact time. So if you play it at night, you're going to get night. If you play it on Christmas, you're going to get Christmas with Santa. And I don't think they called it Christmas, but they called it present day or something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and so the whole thing was, well, what about some people? Yeah, some people can only play at night. Well, what if you're only, what if you work during the day? And so there was a thing where everything would be closed when you played the game. And so the last game, New Leaf, they had something, I forgot how you could do it. You could unlock the ability to have your town stay open like 2 hours later. But I guess people still were not 100% happy with that. So this is really cool. This is a big thing. In fact, I always wished that with today's technology, even back in the GameCube, I was like, what if it went with your actual weather conditions? Like, because our smartphones know the weather.
Not for
that
sure.
would be so cool. But then somebody pointed out that, well, what if you live in a place that it never snows and you never get to see the pretty snow? So
exactly, you don't ever get to catch the giant snowfish or whatever they'll put in the game this time around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool that it's 24/7. So now you can make money all day, every day. They introduced some of the stuff has already been introduced. I just kind of did a deep dive into it. The Nook phone and Nook Miles, which is kind of like almost a secondary way to buy and get things than other than the bells. So basically, it's their version of achievements, or if you're a PlayStation person, trophies. But it's in the game. It's not like a Nintendo thing. So you catch so many fish, or you catch a certain amount of fish or bugs, or you get your house to a certain level, or whatever the achievement is. And then you'll get Nook Miles for all the stuff that you did. And then you can use those Nook Miles for various things, like upgrading your house, or going on the island excursions, or whatever they called it, where you can like hop on a plane and it'll take you to a different island depending on what the pilot wants you to go to or go. It's basically just like a little place you can go to get like rare items and that kind of stuff. And then you can also use Nook Miles for different items and upgrades and stuff like that. So I assume they put this in the game as another incentive to keep playing.
This is really cool because a big weird thing about Animal Crossing, at least especially the original, is that it was kind of a funny thing, a good trademark of the game, but it's like there's almost no point to playing the game except for just enjoying it and being in it. Money, is the big currency. And so this is cool. They do give you, like you said, extra incentive. Like, hey, I feel like I'm actually getting something back for what I'm doing, which also psychologically probably will get people to just play more and get them hooked.
Get them hooked like a drug.
It is that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
thing where it's like, I gotta find this type of fish, or I really need to, plant this or get my house to a certain level so I can get to the next thing. And then you get to the next thing. It's like, I gotta do this to get to the next thing. So that's very interesting.
That's cool.
And it definitely completely new to Animal Crossing. So
it's
excited about that.
So yeah,
exactly. They talked a lot about, for the most part, Animal Crossing is just Animal Crossing. You upgrade your homes and all that stuff. Crafting, which they've talked about before, which is new to this game, where you can not only craft certain things like beds or tables or whatever, but you can end up getting like different kinds of wood if you want different kinds of wood. So,
weapon upgrades.
Exactly. So
you can
all
craft
that
ammunition.
Yeah, so all of that is also in that 24/7 tent thing. So very, very interesting for that.
Molotov cocktail.
That'd be different. The rated M DLC before Molotovs. Go burn people's houses down. They talked a little bit about multiplayer, party play, and speaking of kind of what we just said, even though it's funny, with the party play or Nook Link, I think is what they call it. No, that's the QR code thing. Basically, online, all these online modes where you can either have people come to your town, you can go to their town, or you can play locally with a thing like 8 people, or you can have 8 users in an island at one time, walking around or doing whatever. Very smartly, they made it to where you can you can label people as your best friends or not. So basically, if you're not considered a best friend and you go to somebody's town, you're not allowed to use certain items like axes or shovels or whatever. So you can't just go into somebody's town and just wreak havoc on them like you have been able to in the past.
This is going to start wars like MySpace top 5.
Oh, this is going to be top 5 for sure. Top 8, yeah.
If you mark someone as your best friend when they come to your town or you go to their town, you can use all the items you want to. So you can go crazy. You can build things together, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not labeled as a best friend and you go to someone's town, then you're not going to be able to use things that are pretty much going to destroy their town. So
will you be my best friend?
We'll find out after the first day.
What if you could charge people money? Like, what if you, like, I know some people get way into this game. What if you had like the best town and you charge people actual money to label them as the best friend so that they can, That won't be me, but some people could. I don't know.
It's an business money opportunity right there. I'm just saying, those people
Or
are listening
fails.
right now. Or fails. There's only one way to find out, people.
Give me a cut.
So again, if you're an Animal Crossing fan, you know kind of all about what Animal Crossing is. They went into a lot of this stuff. And I encourage you to watch the Direct because some of this stuff we won't get into. Like, I talk about customizing your house, which is normal to Animal Crossing games, but they put a lot of things that just make your life way easier. You can make things look better in a way easier way. It's hard to explain, but in the video, it kind of showcases that a little bit.
I mean, should we say it? I think the biggest thing here is at the very end. Are we at that part yet?
Why not? We can be. So not only can you customize your houses and customize your clothing like normal, you can now customize your island in an island designer. I guess what they give you like a permit. So basically, there's this place. I don't know where exactly it is in the game. If you watch the Nintendo Direct, you have Tom Nook on the left side. You have Isabelle on the right side. Go to Tom Nook. You can customize your house, change the color of the roof, mailbox, fences, whatever it is. You go to Isabelle's side. You can talk about your island. So what your island's needs are, or how many people are looking to move to your island or whatever. And then through that, you can get like this permit where you can modify your entire island. So
you can build your island. That's so cool. You can like piece up the earth and like build more earth and like that is so cool.
That's baller status.
It's almost Minecraft-y.
It really is, which is a little off-putting slightly, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not too Minecraft-y, you know.
It's a little bit of Minecraft, a little bit of Sims.
Exactly.
So you don't like the fact that this river goes down your island this way. Well, you can just cover up the river, start a new river over here. You don't like that there's a cliff here.
Oh.
You can fix that. You can build bridges that go over the water, which is not different. But I think what is different is the cliffs, the like stairs that go up, so you can get up a cliff or whatever. Then you can, like I said, the video explains it way better, but you can pretty much any way you want your island to look now, you can get it to that point, which is pretty crazy. There's waterfalls, there's all sorts of stuff, and I bet in true Animal Crossing fashion, there's a lot of stuff they did not show off that we will figure out when we play the game. But that part looks super cool.
That's so cool.
And it's kind of cool because like it's you start on a deserted island in this game, but through all this new customizing stuff and being able to customize your island in a million different ways, you can make your own you can make it whatever you want. It's an island, but you can make it look like a city if you want to. You can put things all over the place, or you can make it look like you can make your place look like it did in the GameCube version if you wanted to. So it's pretty crazy. And it is March 20th. There is a themed Switch that comes out the 13th. Pre-orders, I assume, went through the roof after this Direct. Because I felt the same way you did, Shibby. I saw, I think maybe on your Instagram story, where it was like, do we really need an Animal Crossing Direct? Because we know what Animal Crossing is. But they showed off a lot of the stuff in this that kind of was like, yeah, this is Animal Crossing, but it's going to be on a different level. If you
that's the old school. That's the old school gamer in me. I'm used to they announce the game and then you get it and then you freak out. So I was a little skeptical to watch this Direct because they did spill the beans on a lot of cool stuff that playing the game. It would be kind of cool if I didn't watch, and I've only watched about half the Direct, so I don't know if I'll watch the rest. I mean, I already know all of it, but still, just that effect of like playing the game and getting to that part and then being like, oh my, what I can build now? What do they keep adding on stuff? And I'm sure, like you said, that'll still happen. There's gonna be more stuff, but Yeah, that was part of my thing. I'm like, man, I'm used to just games announced and you play the game. Everyone's like, why? Why don't we have a direct yet? We deserve a direct. I'm like, I know everyone's excited, but I'm like, play the game, man.
That's Nintendo fans for you. But
yeah,
what made this direct more exciting for me was when you play an Animal Crossing game, you usually play it pretty hardcore for a while, but you hit a point where it's just like, I just need money. I need money any way I can get it. Farming. And so you just sit there grinding, fishing, catching bugs, doing whatever, getting fruits, going to places to get rare items, fossils, whatever it is, just so you can sell it, just so you can make money to upgrade all your stuff. But this direct showcase where there may be days where you don't make a dime because you're just customizing your entire island or whatever. Like today I'm going to customize my entire island, or today I'm going to worry about getting money, or today I'm going to worry about upgrading all my weapons, or today I'm going to go on the excursion or whatever and go to a different town or whatever. So there's like a bunch of different stuff you can do than just by the time you grind through everything, there's still stuff you can do. As and then with like the achievement kind of system that they got going on too. So this is basically Animal Crossing Ultimate. So what we got left?
Yeah,
Mario Kart. Yes. We need our Mario Kart Ultimate and then our Pokemon Ultimate, and then we'll be good to go.
Sign me up for Mario Kart.
20. Sonya for Mario Kart. So it comes out on March 20, and then the console March 13th. There's also, I just want to throw this out there too for y'all listening. There's a really cool case too that they show off with the console, but it doesn't come with the console. It's sold separately. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm giving away one of those. If you go to my Instagram at Shibby120, it's really easy. There's directions there. Just follow me, share it in your story, and then tag me, and you're entered to win. On the 13th, I'll be giving away one of those cases, and they're really cool looking.
Ooh.
And if you win it and you don't want it, you can give it to me. So there you go.
Done.
Got all your bases covered. All right, guys, let's go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fan questions for this week. And we'll start out with a light one here. At Muffin Man tweets, ask us, what games are y'all looking forward to in 2020?
I keep hearing rumors of the new PS5 coming out with the Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and I'm just really hoping one of those actually comes out. I haven't heard nothing about it actually have, like, oh, they're working on it. Well, I've heard rumors, but I don't believe rumors very much until I see something official.
Exactly, yeah. You would think, because it's out of all the Sony first-party games, that one would be the one that had the time to make a second game already. So you would think that would be either a launch title or pretty close afterwards. So
true.
So that's it.
What do you think is gonna what can they do in a sequel for that game? Like, how can they up the ante, or have they already discussed that? Like,
no, that there's been, like he said, there's been rumors, but there's been nothing like concrete about the game at all. Everything's been kept really under wraps. I mean, they could even be making a game that's not Horizon Zero Dawn. We wouldn't know because there really hadn't been any leaks of any kind or anything like that.
Would it be like Horizon 1 Dawn, or maybe Horizon 2 Dawn, and they skip the 1?
Horizon 0.5.
Or are they better than that?
Nah,
0.5.
They got to stick with what everybody else does and do the Origin.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Horizon Zero Dawn Origins Revelations. The prequel sequel.
The sequel is a prequel. I'm really this is kind of a cop-out answer. I'm really looking forward to Halo Infinite if it's good. I think if that game, I don't know if it's going to be good or not, because the last Halo really wasn't, and then the Halo before that was okay. So it's like, if this is going to be a legit Halo game that's really good, like it's meant to be, then yes, I'm excited. That would probably be my number one most excited game to play, if I knew it was going to be good. But I don't know. What do you think, Shibby?
What are you thinking?
So, I mean, you guys covered
Animal
the
Crossing.
Xbox. You covered the Xbox. You covered the PlayStation. For me, yeah, Animal Crossing. If they come out with a Breath of the Wild 2, that's what I'd be looking forward to. Obviously, Doom 2020, Doom Eternal. That's going to be a really awesome game.
Yeah, I'm excited for Doom as well. All right. I'm sorry if I butcher any of you guys' Twitter handles. I apologize, but at Joriel Parmy asks us, which game do you think needs a remaster? There's a lot of options.
There's a lot of games being remastered too already.
Exactly.
Which one's long overdue?
I'm gonna give this as my answer. I don't think Resident Evil 4 should be remastered. I know they did 1 and 2 and 3, and the next logical step would be 4. But 4 just came out on Switch last year, beginning of last year, and it still holds up very well.
Well, hold on. Do you even want a remaster for that game, or do you want a remake? Because it did 2, 3, and next could be 4.
Yeah, I don't want either one. That's what
Yeah.
I think it holds up so well now. Like, if you do a remake of Resident Evil 4, like, what more can you really do? Like, you can give it the whole shabazz that you've given Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, but it's not gonna be as big.
It wouldn't fit for that game.
Yeah. No. But as far as an actual remaster, I'm not sure. We're getting so close to the new consoles now. I don't know if people are gonna remaster stuff now or not. But
right.
They're gonna remaster stuff for the Switch, or they're gonna call it a remaster.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I can see when the new consoles come out, all the remasters coming out on the new graphics.
This is our remaster PS5. Only remastered games come to this console. Well, let's go to @RealKamikaze. You are a Resident Evil fan? ? Talk about Resident Evil 3 remake. Let's talk about it. Let's talk a little bit about it. And I thought we talked about this on a previous podcast because I was just going to give him the link, but we didn't. We talked about the rumors of Resident Evil 8 is what we talked about. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Resident Evil series or this Resident Evil...
What do y'all think?
Originally, there was this Resident Evil game that they announced that was a multiplayer game, which is like there's 4 of you fighting against one controlled player who's controlling like all the zombies and Professor X and everything. And then the other 4, it's one of those games like Evolve or like the Predator game that's coming out or something like that. And then they dropped the bomb on the Resident Evil 3 remake, and they're like, oh yeah, this is all one game. So you get the multiplayer stuff and you get the Resident Evil 3 remake all in one game.
They're like, let's throw the multiplayer trailer out there. Let's see how people like it. Let's see how much. Oh no. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and bundle that in.
Market research, market testing.
Oh yeah, man. Smart.
I'm excited for Resident Evil 3 remake.
I have a horrible confession. I never got to play Resident Evil growing up. I seen it, but then the first time playing Resident Evil was the remake that just came out for the PlayStation, which is the second one. So that was my first time ever playing Resident Evil.
Same.
Oh, really? Okay, so we're kind of in the same boat with that. Deep end. That's right.
It's so good, isn't it? It's so good. We were missing out our whole lives.
Yes, we were. Oh my gosh.
How?
Let it be known, it didn't play like that when it first came out.
Well, I know. Hey, to be fair, it's because of that remake, I jumped in on the Switch and I bought the first one, and it kind of does. I mean, I didn't know how much of the core gameplay they kept, so I went back to Resident Evil 1. And obviously graphics are different. It's an over the shoulder, but the puzzle gameplay, I just thought it was going to be some I don't know, some very shallow, just shoot a bunch of zombies games. And I'm like, this thing to me is like a whole big Zelda dungeon. It's a one big puzzle.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like the original games 1, 2, and 3 are very much survival horror games where it's like you have very limited resources.
That's why I'm always out of freaking bullets.
Yeah. 4 is the first game I played, which was like that to an extent, but it was also a little bit more action-y than the other games were. And then after that, it just got super action-y. So now they're remaking all those things, and then even their new games that they are making are kind of reverting back to that survival horror kind of stuff, which is very stressful, but very good if it's done right.
So with the Resident Evil 3 remake, would I be able to play like the campaign mode with other people as well on stream?
I don't think it's co-op. I think it's still you're gonna have the Resident Evil 3 remake as the single player mode, and then you also have this multiplayer mode where you can play with friends. And honestly, I hope it's done really well. There are games like that, like Friday the 13th, as buggy as it was, or like what's the other one?
Dead by Daylight, which I love.
Dead by Daylight, exactly. They're done very well. So if this game is done as long as it's playable and it's not evolve, basically, because that game's awful.
Yeah.
I think this could be very fun because I'm a horror game person anyway, so I just want it to be good. So just please make the multiplayer good so I can keep playing this thing. But we'll see. Another question here from @AquariumTigers. What old school obscure titles did you enjoy and wish had a broader base today? So this is a very specific and somewhat difficult question because if it is an obscure old game and has a decent fan base, it probably got remade or put on consoles recently. So he's asking if there's any of these games that you wish had a broader fan base today.
Did Conker's Bad Fur Day ever come out and get remastered?
What game?
Conker's Bad Fur Day. I had the D-Day things. Oh, okay.
It was reincarnated as Super New Lucky's Tale.
What?
Something that doesn't sound real.
Yeah.
No, that's a 3D platformer that came out a couple times, and it looks like Conker, but it's very much a Fur Day. But yeah, check it out. New Super Lucky's Tale.
Okay. He says old school games. I think these both came out on PS2, so you may consider this old school. You may not consider this old school. Do any of you remember either Guitaru Man, which was basically an animated music game where you play guitar? It was a rhythm-based game where your character played this guitar to like fight enemies and such like that. Very weird, very Japanese, but it was a very good game. And then there was also Mosquito Man. I don't know if you remember Mosquito Man. If you don't know what Mosquito Man is, you can YouTube that crap right there. You were literally a mosquito and you went around biting people. And that's what you did the whole game.
Definitely is obscure for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You tried not to get slapped or hit with a fly swatter or things like that while you bit people. That's what you did. That's the remake we need right there. Where's that remaster question? That's Mosquito Man needs to be remastered.
I don't see a reason why not. Let's make that happen. Mosquito Man.
There's a
launch title.
It needs to be a launch title. I saw a game here recently that it's kind of like SteamWorld Heist. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the main character, and it took me a while after watching stuff about the game to realize he's a mosquito, and you do. He's voiced by Elias Tefexis, which is the voice of Adam Jensen on Deus Ex. But it's a 2D game. But yeah, you get your powers from like just hanging out near the blood of your enemies.
Nice. I mean, that's how I get my powers.
Yeah, yep,
You're
that's
the
how I
real
get
life
mine.
mosquito man.
Isn't that how we all get our powers? This is how the Log On podcast gets our powers. Just standing by you and taking all your blood power.
Blood. I'll have
I'll
to
give you a
say,
PO
like,
box.
oh god, oh god.
And so
Send
we'll
all
give a
your
PO
blood.
box. So you exactly. Just send your blood to us so we can have more powers. Please.
So I'm gonna tie in my answer with, like you said, with the remaster thing, because this question's kind of like it's pulling up answers for that first one. Not so obscure, but so Earthworm Jim. I don't know why the other day I was just like, you know what? We haven't seen EMJ in a long time.
Or Jim in quite a while.
EWJ, huh?
Hadn't seen Mr. Old Jimmy in quite a while.
Mr. Jimmy, come on. I mean, that would be perfect, I think, for Switch. Just 2D,
For sure.
2D cartoony era. Like, bring them back. Either do it cartoony, hand drawn, or do it, 3D. But give me a little side scroller action.
Earthworm Jim will be the villain in the new Metroid game. That's for real.
I love that.
Fingers crossed.
We got another.
Yeah.
We got another question from Twitter here. Brian Speller says, "Dreams for the PS4. I saw previews for it yesterday. What's it all about?" So Dreams comes from the people that made Little Big Planet, and is a PS4 exclusive game, and has been on a wild ride itself for years and years and years. It was announced a very long time ago, and then went away for a very long time. I think it was even announced when the PS3 was a thing, if I'm not mistaken. Like before the PS4, Dreams was announced, and then it just went away forever. And then it was in beta for a long time. Dreams, from what I have not played the game, but I've seen some streams of it, and you can go on Google and look at all the amazing things that have been made in Dreams. But Dreams, to my knowledge, is a game, more so a tool than a game. So there is playable levels in it. I don't know if it's a story mode or what, but basically you buy Dreams and you can use it to create whatever you want, is the gist of it. So if you go on Google or YouTube or whatever and just type in the best of things made in Dreams or something like that, you will see all sorts of stuff. I watched a video of the whole first level of Sonic that was made in Dreams, but it was made in like 3D. That looks really crazy good. I saw one today that was Halo made in Dreams. There's a picture going around of somebody that made a mock-up of what they think the PS5 is going to look like in Dreams. So it's very much a you're going to sit down and build something. You can build a world, you can build a game, you can build a picture, you can whatever you want it to be. So that's what Dreams is. So if that's the kind of stuff you're into, then you can check it out. It's gotten really good reviews. It's like a Metacritic takes all the reviews from everybody and averages them, and it's at like a 90 or 91 right now on Metacritic. So
wow. I'm
really
seeing
good.
a whole like Batman creations thing on this.
Exactly.
And you can create anything in this, it looks like. Man, this looks kind of cool.
Exactly. Yeah, so they also like want like future, like if you're interested in video game development or coding or anything like that, like they want to get kind of people in there early. So like this is a game where you can kind of take that and do what you will with it. So which is kind of cool. So yeah, check that out. That seems like something you're into. We got one more Twitter question here. At Malcolm next up asks, the state of DLC games. Why are games coming out half done? Question mark.
Oof.
So we ended the podcast with a good one.
We are under contract with the video game lords. We're not able to talk about this.
So one of y'all can give your opinions real quick before I demolish him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
They might take away my contract to check. No, I think what they're doing is like they're smart and putting out content on DLCs that keeps making them much more and more money and keeps people buying the same game. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still being played and is still one of the top games on Twitch right now, just because they came out with that casino, and they're always coming out with new stuff for you to do and just immerse yourself in the world. So it's genius, and I hate it because I keep buying it and downloading it at the same time.
Exactly. So my take on this is there are some games that this has an issue with. Anthem being probably the closest thing that people think of. But on that same line, there's a lot of games that come out that are trying to be like what Anthem was trying to be. It's like Destiny or like a Rainbow Six or Division or games like this where you don't think you're like when you play it through, you're like, I feel like I didn't get my money's worth. But for the next 5 years, this thing's going to be supported. So I think a lot of games that are trying to be big time games are coming out a little bit earlier than they normally would, just off the fact that there's going to be DLCs and expansions for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Do we prefer that, or do you like just waiting longer for a game and getting 100 gig 2-disc CD collection?
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the type of the game. Like if you know that this is going to be a game that's ongoing, and you want to buy it day one, just know what you're getting yourself into potentially. But if it's even Final Fantasy VII, this is not the full Final Fantasy VII. This is only like whatever they said, like one part of the game that they've just completely remade and stuff. So this is not going to be the start and the end that the original Final Fantasy VII was. But it is supposed to be a full game. So
I like how what you just kind of made me realize is kind of a no-brainer, but it depends. Because I'm always I'm always kind of like seeing both sides of the story, and I've never really thought about it how it depends on the game. Because I know like Pokemon, you and Matt said you felt like it came with, I think you guys said you felt like it came with enough content, and it was nice that they were providing extra. But then a lot of people are saying, I don't know, I feel like they purposely didn't give us the whole shebang. And I think you get games like that where people are divided. But then speaking of Evolve, that was one of the big issues with that game is that people felt like Evolve came out with, part of the game missing. And that's cool because to answer the question, why are games coming out half done? That's a good question because some games are not. So yeah, it just depends. Some games are coming out complete and then we want to add extra stuff with our money, then that's cool. That's great. That's icing on the cake. That's something that didn't exist back in the day that I'm glad does exist now. But then you're right. I think some games are coming out half done, which is something we didn't have to deal with in the past, But yeah, so I think that's a good call. That's a good point. I think it's because bad developers and probably bad publishers that are taking advantage of this model that when done right is awesome, but can be done wrong, can be abused, and can be predatory. So yeah, it depends on the game.
Yeah, Anthem, I think is what is in my mind of whether it's a developer issue or whether it's the publisher issue. Like EA may be pressuring them to come out with this before it needed to. And I think the failures speak a lot louder than the successes do, because I think this happens way less than it used to.
Oh, yeah.
But then a game like Anthem comes out, and it's specifically meant to be an ongoing game, like a Destiny, more MMO type stuff, but you're done with the game and everything it has to offer in 15 hours, and there's no new content that's even been announced. And it's not the things that you were promised at release, and so it gets all the flack that it deserves, and then it goes in the dark, and then even when it tries to come back, you're like, okay, well, I'm done with this new content in 2 hours. It's just like, so I just think the failures maybe speak louder than the successes do on this one. But
True.
I will say I think it's happening way less than it did last generation, which is great.
I think it all comes down to kind of like what you're saying. I think it all comes down to expectation. When you get the game,
Yes.
did you get everything you expected? And it kind of sounds crappy, but that's the industry we live in now, and it works both ways because we're more demanding as gamers, but also developers and publishers have a lot more access to knowing exactly what we want, which is why Nintendo is perfect at poking all of our, pulling all of our strings. So yeah, it comes down to like, did I get what I feel like I paid for? Then good. Then everything else on top of that's cake. Do I feel like there was something that should have been in there and now I have to pay to get that? Then yeah, that kind of sucks. So, but you're right. I think it's a situation where the bad is louder than the good.
And the crappy thing about, like, in general, the bad always sticks out worse, or like you always remember the bad, or the bad always is something that sticks in your memory more than any of the good ever does on anything, including games. But I think you're right. It comes down to expectations. Like, I was not expecting DLCs to come out when I first originally bought the last Batman game, the Arkham. Which one is that one? Knight. And I thought that was a complete hella good game. And then they came out with all these DLCs, and then I was like, sweet, awesome. It came out like 2 years too late for me. But then you got games like Grand Theft Auto that are killing it all the time, and they're always coming out with new stuff, and people are always spending money buying the new stuff. So
yeah,
I think I 100% agree. It's all about coming down to expectation, what you actually got to put out on that original game. And it's a great way for them to keep people playing the same game and not have to come out with Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yep. Well, Malcolm X next up. That was a good question. So we're going to end this podcast. If you want to be a part of these fan questions, you can tweet at us at Log On Games or tweet at any of these hosts that are on here. We will see it, and we will put it on the podcast. If you want to send us a message on Facebook, like I said, at Facebook or Twitter at Log On Games. If you're listening to this on Apple, please rate us 5 stars. Help us get our earballs and eyeballs on all the platforms, and then share it with your friends. And we want to thank you all for listening. New podcasts up every Friday, so we will see you all next Friday.
Woo! Adios!
All right, cool.